Hey everyone, I'm Rachel,
And I'm Jen, and welcome to Devilish Bookworms, the podcast.
where we read and review books and release episodes every Tuesday.
This week, we have Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole.
Yay! I'm sorry. I was never mind. If any of you out there can hear my squirrel in his little ball, I was listening to him instead of
Wow, I see where
sorry
the priorities lie.
with the squirrel,
Listen,
duh.
yeah, listen to the
Yay!
squirrel run into the wall.
He's so loud.
If there is one thing that Diem Bellator knows to be true, it's that life for the mortals is hard. Made even worse by their torment at the hands of the Descendants, the mortals do everything they can to survive. When Diem's mother disappears while performing her job as a healer to the king, Diem is faced with every reality she's been protected from her entire life, and the secrets have only begun to be revealed. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun.
So, Rachel, why don't we dig in?
Um, so this book is Spark of the Everflame, the Kindred's Curse Saga, Book One. So this story is about Diem Bellator, who is a healer, and she's immortal. And her mom was a healer before her. She has a father and a brother, and she's living like this little mortal life. But also, there are these things called Descendants, which I'm assuming is kind of like a fairy. Like, is this a fairy but not fairy book?
It felt like it was like a fae vibe to it.
Okay, because so the only no, like the only thing that I had a hard time with was in the very beginning, it was very like textbooky. And if you know me, if you know anything about me, the surest way for me to like not get something is to write it like a textbook. And for some reason, this was like, this universe has like a lot to it. It has its own map, its own world, its own history, which is fantastic. But um, I I tend to kind of like, even if I read it and listen to it and have a conversation about it, I still kind of like gloss over a lot of things when it's kind of thrown at me. Not saying that it was like info dumpy, but a little bit. And so
Mm-hmm.
um the gist of what I got was that there's the Descendants. I don't know what a kindred is, but I know that there's the Descendants who are kind of like the Fae. They're up in the castle being all high and mighty and also murdery. And then there's the humans, which are kind of looked upon as plebeians. And um, the only reason why they're kind of worth anything is um, to be healers, which Diem and her mom are. And then also like entertainment and kind of like not great things. And so when we are first introduced to Diem, she's just come home or she's just gotten off of a shift being a healer, healing a bunch of people. And she's like walking home, I think it was. And she meets this lady on the street, and she's kind of like a fortune teller. She's like this little old lady. And she starts talking to Diem basically about like Diem's path in life. And Diem says to her, "Let me guess, I've already met my true love. I'm going to have a stable full of children and I'm going to live a long, blissfully happy life before I die." And she's like, "No, basically not. None of that." And then she's like telling her all of her secrets, and your mom's been lying to you your whole life and whatever. And I just couldn't help but thinking, like, what an actual twat. Like, who just comes up to someone randomly in the street and is like, "Hey, just so you know, your entire life is a lie and you're never going to be happy and you have nothing but struggles and hard times ahead of you. Also, your family sucks." Like, who
Mm-hmm.
does that?
Would. Ah.
Oh, stop it.
So
Stop it.
I will say, like, I was kind of like taken aback by that person only because she just randomly shows up and then she's gone.
Mhm.
And this is a spoiler. We don't see her throughout the entire rest of the book.
Is it a spoiler? It didn't really spoil anything.
That disturbs me. Like, because obviously I know there's a 4 book series. This is a 4 book series, but it's like, when the fuck is this lady gonna pop back up
I'm okay if she
with
doesn't because she sucks.
her little creepy ass self?
Like, don't be a dick for no reason.
Oh goodness. Seriously. It's not fun. We don't like it.
It's not fun.
So what is fun is at one point she's sitting there talking to, I think it was Mora.
Who is the lady that used to work with her mother as a healer?
Yeah, her mother's bestie.
Mm-hmm.
So they were talking about a blood sun and how it was a warning from the gods. And at one point, Mora says that it's nothing big deal, like no nothing's happened in the last 2. And she responds, "My darling little brother would disagree with you because she was born on a blood sun." And then she her brother says, "Even the gods knew you would be a pain in the ass." And honestly, I couldn't help but to think of your brother because that is some shit he would say. Yeah, even the gods knew
Yeah.
you would be a pain in the ass. Uh,
One of the things that I really loved about this book was the fact that one, her family plays such a huge part in the story, but also their whole family dynamic, because I feel like a lot of authors or a lot of storylines make the main character essentially an orphan, right? And they do it for a couple of reasons. Obviously, if you have no one guiding you, then your character arc and your character development is going to be more dramatic. If you have someone to answer to, you might not take risks like you would if you did have someone to answer to. Like, there's a million reasons why they kind of like take away those family ties, right? But Diem has such a good relationship with like her whole family. Like, her and her brother are best friends and they fight and they have banter and all this, but like their connection is really strong, which, having a brother, I relate to. And then
mhm.
also like her relationship like with her father, like most of the time, like, it's either a main character who has like a single mom who's struggling, or like a main character who has a single dad who doesn't really know what he's doing. Like, there's things that you notice happening a lot, but she has such a huge strong connection with her father and with her brother, and like, you see it a little bit with her mom. Like, she idolizes her mom so much and respects them all. And I love the fact that the author put so much emphasis on the importance of family connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually had a note um that talked about that because the way her and her father acted was really cute. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at one point he was like kind of reprimanding her, telling her she needs to do this, and all that. And then he, turns not so serious, or not as like commander as they call it. And he tells her that he loves her. And she responds with, "Love you too, sir." And I thought it was just like the cutest little moment between them, especially
Yeah.
because it was like at first it didn't seem like a father-daughter relationship, but more of a commander and soldier relationship. And then they had that moment and it just made it so much sweeter.
Yeah, I absolutely see that. I think my favorite interaction between father and daughter happened one time when she was furious. She's furious. She's
Mm.
stomping into the house. And like the quote literally says, "My father took one look at me stomping through the house and grabbed two dull sparring swords. Outside, he grunted, tossing one to me. I didn't bother arguing." Literally, like he saw that she was furious, that she had all this pent up anger and pent up rage that she needed to expel. And so he's like, not even his only word was outside. He knew exactly what she needed, exactly the best way to handle whatever was going on. He takes her outside. They spar for a bit, and then it's like, okay, now that you're calmed down, like what's going on? I loved that. Might be one of my favorite scenes in the book.
I 100% agree with you. That was such a great moment. And there's not a lot of parents that could take one look at their child and be like, okay, I know what's wrong. I know what they need. Let's go. Because not everybody's blessed with that kind of relationship with their parents. And, you know, you could, I like literally, I was getting emotional with the way that they were just reading it. And I know that I have that
Mm-hmm.
relationship with my father. There was one day I walked into, he was actually next door at a donut shop. And I walked into there and I looked like I was about to lose it. And he knew. He got me out of there. He got me talking. And like, literally, I know this man so much. And I think every adult child of a parent can realize that they owe their parents so much, but it's never anything we're ever going to be able to repay. And you could feel this vibe coming from their relationship, and I absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, get me
Absolutely.
get me all in my feels.
I feel like this book got us all in our feels anyway.
Yeah, like entirely. It like there's not just one part. There was so many different parts.
Hmm. So essentially, what happens is, so Diem is, like I said, she's a healer. One day she sees her mom talking with someone from he's one of the descendants, one of the ones that, they basically don't talk to because the descendants kind of rule everything, right? And they they're kind of like the royalty, but more than that. Like the mortals are very much second class citizens. And basically if a descendant got a mortal pregnant, there were like forced abortions. Well, trigger warning. um but like it's really bad. They're very oppressed. Like all the descendants are rich and eat well and live lavish lifestyles, and like the mortals are all basically starving to death. And so for her to see her mom sitting there talking so familiarly with one was kind of jarring for her. Well, then her mom goes missing.
Mm.
And so everyone's looking for her mom and they're kind of like, what is going on? And through a cruel twist of fate, she has to now step into her mom's shoes as like the healer for the king who's not really doing too hot.
Which, of course, like they really don't let anybody near descendant royalty. Like
Mm-mm.
this is like exclusive. This person comes here and that's it. And of course, she also kept Diem from the descendants. And she never told her why.
Mm-hmm.
She just kept her in the dark. You don't need to know anything about them. You don't need to know how to treat them because you're never going to treat them as a healer. And like understandably, Diem was like really irritated about this, but she just kind of let it go because it was like, why do I want to bother when they're such assholes? So why do I want to heal them? Again, understandable, especially with, as you were saying, the laws about killing children that are born out of a mixed relationship, and it's just awful. But
Mm-hmm.
at least she had other things to occupy her mind, like her boyfriend. What was there? Oh,
Yeah,
Henry.
exactly. What was his name?
I
Exactly.
yeah, he
I'm sorry.
well,
I
Henry
just
Henry
can't.
Henry was a great distraction when she needed it.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Okay,
Uh-huh.
listeners, as you can tell, we are not like the best of fans of Henry. And yeah, definitely not. Definitely not gonna ever be a fan of Henry.
No. But I feel like we have to be fair. So, Jen, did you have the same feelings about Henry in the beginning of the book as you did in the end of the book? Obviously, no spoilers, but like, did you have the same feelings?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So there was a couple of things that really just like irked me about him in the beginning. Um and it was just the way he was like kind of like forcing his opinions on her, or
Yeah.
um like kind of just steering the conversation towards what he wanted. So like it was like a, you could tell that there was going to be something that he was kind of like going to try to manipulate out of her. And that I was not a happy camper.
Yeah, he kind of gave me the ick too.
Okay, so right from the beginning as well.
I did not love him.
Okay.
I didn't hate him at the beginning, but I didn't love him.
Yeah. I like, as soon as they kind of like started with their whole like relationship dynamic, like I was like, there's something off here. This
Mm-hmm.
this isn't gonna work for me.
Yeah,
That's what all I kept thinking is, this isn't
this
gonna
isn't
work for
gonna
me.
work.
Oh
That's
goodness.
hilarious. So ooh, my microphone moved. Rude. Um, so basically she starts healing the kingdom people, and but Miss Diem has a bit of an attitude problem because she is kind of, she's been sheltered from these people her whole life, right? So she doesn't really know how to act around them, which is both good thing and a bad thing, right? I loved her. I loved her so. I love the fact that she had no sense of self-preservation. I love the fact that she didn't back down when things uh like when people tried to like put her in her place. Granted, of course, it could have ended horrifically, but she didn't really care. She just did what she wanted and said what she wanted. And I was here for little Miss Diem.
Yeah, she was a feisty little thing. I yep. Her feral energy was fucking great.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say a thing because I do this as well. But she chose her battles, right? So she would fight with the descendant, okay? Obviously not good. But she would also fight with her father. But yet she did not step up when she needed to when it came to Henry, and that bothered me so badly. Again, I do it as well, so whatever. But it just bothered me.
I feel like this is a spoiler moment. Like I can't really ask for details, but I don't necessarily understand what you mean. Um, I I think the thing that I liked the most about her is that I genuinely feel like she was always trying to do the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
but the right thing changes when you receive new information, right? So like you think that this is the right thing, this is what you're supposed to be doing, and then all of a sudden you have new information and you change completely, or something, it changes the way you view the world, and so therefore it changes what that right thing should be. And the one thing that I loved the most about Diem was the fact that like she was able to say when she was wrong and when other people were wrong, you know,
Yeah.
which causes some problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when she voices it so openly sometimes.
So, Jen, of course, as we know, when Diem got the job at the castle, she was brought face to face with a descended named Luther. How did you feel about darling Luther?
So at first I was kind of like skeptical of him because he seemed like he was going to be a fucking dick. And it, which would kind of like be a running statement with most of the men in Diem's life right now, besides her dad. Um, so I really wasn't sure exactly how to feel about him at first, but he kind of grew on me
Yeah.
real fucking quick.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there's just something about those extremely unavailable anywho.
Yeah. You don't need
So
to finish that statement. Everybody knows.
everybody knows. Yeah, so Luther is a person who lives in the castle, and I kind of don't want to give away who this person is. But he's there. He exists just doing his Luther thing. And he's kind of like, I guess you could call him her point of contact, right? Like he's just kind of the person that she sees when she goes to the castle, and he's like kind of the she sees him as the epitome of everything that's wrong, right? I think that's fair to say.
That's perfectly said.
You know what I kind of love? And I don't know if you got this, but I kind of got this. So I feel as though Diem was written in a way that was perfectly I'm sorry, my squirrel, I know you can hear it. My squirrel keeps hitting the door. Um he's still in his ball because I didn't want to take him out of it. He's running around, he's happy. So Diem sees the world the way she wants to see the world, not necessarily the way that it is. And I feel like we all kind of do that, right? So when she is given information and like looks back on the way that she sees the world, she's like, "Oh, maybe that was my bad."
Which I think that kind of adds to her character. Because it also makes her say things that most people pretty much wouldn't, especially to a royal. And I fucking love that about her. There was one moment after I think this was, yeah, right after she met him, and he corrected her on the fact that his name's not just Luther, it's Prince Luther. And then she makes this little comment. Wait, does she actually make it or does she think it? Hold on.
Was it the one where it's like there's people dying and you're too worried about your goddamn title or something like that?
No, that comes later.
That was
That was a
hilarious.
that was a great moment. Um, so I think it was more of a thought that she had. She goes, "Harder, your highness. Whilst thou give me permission to come, your highness, let me
Oh,
kneel to you and show the prince's little prince a good time." And I literally fucking died because then, of course, she's sitting there staring at his, below the belt. And he's like, like, hello, there's a group full of people here. Like,
that was so funny.
her whole attitude was just fucking spicy, and I love it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I love the fact that I don't know, there's kind of a little bit of like a Romeo and Juliet situation going on, not necessarily, but kind of, like it's like them kind of seeing that the people on both sides aren't as horrible and terrible as they think they are.
Right.
There's kind of a little bit of that in there. Jen, I can't go much longer not talking about our favorite quotes. I know that we're not necessarily there yet. Do you have any notes to talk about?
So, not necessarily. I mean, there was a lot of great points to this book. And when I tell you I have 4 pages worth of notes, I'm not even kidding you. But
But they're all spoilers, I'm sure.
I was gonna say there's a lot that have spoiler moments, or like you need to read to like catch the vibe so you can
Mm-hmm.
feel what I felt while I was reading and what Rachel probably felt while she was reading and texting me what she was feeling.
Yeah, I gave Jen live updates. I never know when like I should or should not do live updates because of the fact that we do the podcast, right? And like I
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily want to do updates while I'm reading it because then why would you bother listening to the podcast? But at the same time, sometimes I just couldn't not. Like I live texted I posted my favorite quote because I couldn't not.
Yeah, you did. I was like, so after you did that, and I finished reading it like, I don't know, a few hours later,
Mhm.
and I wanted to go, Penn, what the fuck have you done to me? Like, how dare you? I was so lost in this ending. Well, I was lost throughout the entire book. Like this book sucked me in, but the ending, oh. And then you started sending me live updates, and I'm like, bitch, I can't fucking say anything to you because you haven't even to the good part yet. It was so rough. I was having so much like emotions, like it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
But what was your favorite quote? I'll throw quotes out there because we already heard your first one.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I for sure do. So hold on, let me see.
Watch it, all of
Um,
ours be like exactly the same.
well, my favorite one was the stand down. That one was it was so beautifully placed. I just
I get it.
um
I have 11, by the way.
wow.
I'm not going to
So
read all of them.
so one of mine was okay, I need to tell you something. This book is one of those books that you read and it kind of makes you look at things differently. And the reason why I
Mm-hmm.
say that is because I am very um I'm very like sex positive, sex work positive. Like I feel like if it's your decision to do your thing, why not do it? You know what I mean? Like I would never look down on someone for being a stripper or whatever. It's literally if it's your decision and you're not being forced into it and you genuinely enjoy it, I am here for it because it's your life and you should be able to do what you want, right? So Diem is in a brothel and she is talking to the madam, and the madam basically says, you'd make $1 million here. And she's considering it, but she's considering how it would never be for her. And then she said that there's nothing wrong with sex work. And the quote is, men sold the strength of their bodies as sellswords and assassins, bricklayers and carpenters. Why should it be any less acceptable for women to sell the softness of theirs? And I love that quote. I love that quote because people constantly talk about how, like they constantly talk down on certain types of work for females. However, men are out here literally breaking their bodies and no one cares. No one bats an eye, crippling themselves because they're trying to provide for their families. And it's like, that's an honest day's work because they're using their talents. And yeah, not to, I'm going to cut that rant short, but yes, I love that quote.
I can totally dig that. I I don't know how I kind of like breezed over that one with all the other shit that I have highlighted here. I don't understand how I just glazed over that, but I like it.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then I have another one and I don't remember where it is. I know that I'm still trying to work out this whole like phone versus like, oh,
Oh, the
maybe
Kindle app
that's,
annotation sections.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't, for some reason it's not translating. Like I put some stuff on my phone that's not on my funky. Okay, hold on.
Now you're seeing what I had to struggle with.
Yeah, not only that, but I'm also seeing points that I wanted to make. Like, okay, so this one is something that I highlighted. It's not a favorite quote, but one of the things that Luther does is he's very stoic. He has that like mask in place, right? And even if he's upset, he doesn't show it, nothing. And she like tries to piss him off, and she says, to my aggressive indignation, he didn't so much as blink. When I tell you I am feral for a man who reacts with no reaction, I think it's because I'm so extra, but like people who are so in control of themselves that they don't like react. Oh my god.
I know someone like that.
Do you?
Uh-huh. Yes, I do.
I will say this one. Each side was convinced they were fighting for good, each of them believing that the killings they committed were righteous and justified to prevent the deaths of innocents. How was it possible for me to love people so deeply on both sides of this war? If that's not like the most human statement, like people do awful, heinous things and they justify it by thinking that they're in the right.
Yep.
Oh, it was beautiful. What were your favorites?
Well, let's just see here. One of mine was that's what family is about, standing by each other's side even when you make the worst mistakes. Now, again, I'm going to bring my dad into this, and I will also bring you into this.
Me?
Yes, because you two are the main people that have always been by my side, no matter what decision I've made, how many mistakes I've made, including one of the worst ones I've made. And you two have literally stuck by my side, never looked at me differently, never treated me differently because of those mistakes. And I think that one line just kind of sums it up, that that's truly what family is. And not a lot of people get to experience that, because I'm not even going to say it like that. Unfortunately, most people have conditions on love. And family is supposed to be the ones that don't put conditions on love. And unfortunately, that's not how it always is. And thankfully, I am lucky enough to have two people that have never put conditions on their love for me. And it really struck me hard when I read that.
Oh my God, you're the worst. I just love you.
I love how I'm the worst, but you love.
Quotes matter, guys. Quotes matter.
Even the smallest ones. Like, I mean, that was such a simple quote, but it was just like hope without reason is cruel. That was another one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, yeah.
Y'all, do you hear this squirrel?
I do hear that.
He is on another level.
It's not as loud as it was before, but it's there.
I wish you could hear it from this side. Holy crap.
So the way that I described it earlier to her is that it sounds like someone slamming a dryer shut. That's what it sounds like.
In the garbage. I'm just kidding. I'm not. Please don't throw your animals in the garbage.
She would never. She loves that squirrel.
I love him so much.
Next quote. I know you too well to try to force you to talk about your feelings, but you know I'll be here if you need me, right? As always, no matter what. Again, you, right there.
What?
Because you don't force me to talk about my emotions, which I love because I don't like them.
That's not accurate. Don't give people this false sense of I will let you not talk about it for the first minutes of our conversation, and then I'll get it out of you.
Well, yeah, she eventually gets it out of me, but she doesn't force it out. She's just that bubbly love.
I coax it out.
Yeah. Like a fucking I got my own personal therapist, okay? She's fucking awful.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I charge $100 an hour.
Pretty cheap for a therapist.
I don't want to talk about it.
So let's see. I know there was something else. Oh, okay. Because this one was towards me. But whatever you do or don't do, sweetheart, do it for yourself. Don't choose a mediocre life for a mediocre man. Go be exceptional. If he's worth it, he won't judge you. And if he's really the one, he'll come along for the ride. And yeah.
Yeah.
Self-explanatory there. Oh, okay. Last one. If the death of innocence is a cost we're willing to pay, then we don't deserve to be powerful.
Boom. Freaking boom. That point of the book was it was so good.
Oh, it was so good. Okay, listen, folks. Obviously, the book was good. We're just going to throw it out there. But there were certain points where you just really invested in the story, and that was one of the moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I love? I love how like there's that whole thing about like how art should not be political right now. And if you think this is not one of the most secretly political books, like she not like politics political, but like she has something to say, like Penn Cole has something to say, and she's saying it with this book. And she's doing it in a way that's beautiful and artistic and keeps you into the story, but it's blatant, right? Like she's hiding nothing.
No, she really doesn't.
I love it. So Jen, how do you feel? What would you say is your overall feeling for the book?
I absolutely love this book because it brought up so many different points, and I think a lot of those points hit home, and even though it might have been a fantasy realm, a lot of those can cross back into our lives today and what we're dealing with on a daily basis. And I honestly think that a lot of people should read this just to resonate with some of the lessons that this book taught us. And also for the end.
That it came out of nowhere and I was like screeching.
I can't even tell you.
Can't even say it.
I know.
My God. Anyway. No, I think you said it perfectly. I think that she wrote observations about just how we treat each other and kind of the different dynamics of relationships. And there's so many different dynamics when it comes to like family, friends, what you owe your significant others, how you see the world, how you see people that you perceive as the enemy. There's so many elements. And I think that yes, like you said, it's it's a fantasy book and it's written to entertain, but it's also, I think, a full case study in just human behavior and like things that we've broken away from, things that we need to get back to in terms of how we treat each other and ourselves. I loved it. 5 stars, 10 out of 10. Would recommend. There's no spice to it, which is fine. It's fantastic.
Is there no spice though?
I would say there's no spice.
Is there no spice?
Yes, I would say there's no spice.
There's like a half a jalapeno.
I'll give you your half a jalapeno.
Yeah.
But I am very much going to be listening to the second one. I had to listen, guys. I'm really busy. I listened to it, and the narrator did a gorgeous job. And I will be listening to the second one probably this week because it's fantastic.
Honestly, I plan on buying this whole series. I haven't read the second one yet, but I think it's a series that I would like to have in my library.
Yeah. I guess we didn't even touch on, did you have a favorite quote, a favorite character?
I'd say Luther. Luther would be mine.
Yeah, I would say you know what? I loved kind of all of them because they're all written so believably and so like, I don't know, I dug them all. But I really liked Diem. I thought she was a fantastic FMC. Probably one of my favorites.
I agree with that. She really was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Spark of the Everflame was written by Penn Cole, and you can find all of the books as well as so much more at penncole.com, PENNCOLE.com. You can also find her at her socials, author Penn Cole, AUTHORPENNCOLE. On her website, you'll see all of her books, facts, her appearances, contacts. She has a TikTok account. Yeah. I just cannot. I'm really happy that we did this book.
So am I. Like, I know it's been on our TBR, our collective TBR for like a while.
Yo, forever.
Like, since we've been on Threads, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really glad that we finally got around to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can't wait for the next one.
Yes, Jen. What are we reading next week?
So next week we are reading Masquerade by Oo Segoyomi.
Yay! So this one I saw on Threads too. Listen, Threads is just my life now. But I saw this one on Threads, and well, I believe it was Danica, the author who wrote The Truth According to Ember. I believe she's the one that reposted um the book. And I saw it and I was like, holy crap, that cover. And so then I just needed it in my life.
Honestly, because of you picking this and I read the inside and everything, I was like, ooh, I really want that book. So
Right?
I have the hardcover.
I know.
Ooh,
Literally,
it's so
I
pretty.
saw Hades and Persephone through the lens of African tribes, and I melted.
Dude, I can understand that. But I'm not gonna lie, like literally, this cover is gorgeous. Absolutely fucking gorgeous.
It's stunning. She looks like a god, like she looks like a queen.
The flowers are actually like metallic. Like you move the book, you can actually see it. And the spots on her dress are too. Like,
Ugh,
so it's kind of got that like same metallic vibe. It's not as much, but it's still really nice.
I die.
Me too.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for listening. Please follow us and like all of our channels at Devilish Bookworms everywhere. And we will see you next week.
Yes, we will.
Bye.
Bye.